I am Raziel.
What's up, guys? Raziel here, and I know it's been a while. It has been a while since I have done a Raz Rants, but I felt it was kind of necessary. So, as you may or may not know, these types of videos are very verbal, and I'll leave some eye candy up on the screen if you're watching, but this is the type of video that you can, plug in that Bluetooth into your car while you're driving and listen to, or you can have in the background as you get on with your life and do far more important things than listen to my opinions on video games. But I wanted to make this video because I've been getting a lot of questions recently on my stream and in my Discord and in DMs and private messages on YouTube and on Discord, the DMs there, asking me this one question. So I thought it would be simpler to answer it here on my YouTube channel as opposed to right on stream, where I can go in a little more depth without distractions of currently playing the game or anything like that, or typing out, critting people with walls of text in my Discord. So I'm going to answer it this way. And the question I'm asked is, when World of Warcraft Classic comes out, are you going to play? Are you going to play World of Warcraft Classic? Now, for those of you who know me and who are familiar with my content, familiar with me, avid watchers of my stream, or you talk with me on Discord, you already know how I'm going to answer this question. But I'm going to answer for you if you don't know. And the answer to that question is no. No way am I playing World of Warcraft Classic. And you might say, wow, Jesus Christ, Raz, why? Why are you so angry, passionate? I'm not angry. I'm just saying, no, I'm not going to play World of Warcraft Classic. And I'll tell you why. Okay? And before I tell you exactly why, you need a little bit of context, okay? And the context for the title and the thumbnail of this video, which is Chasing the Dragon. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what the phrase Chasing the Dragon means, it's a Chinese saying that originated from people who used to smoke opium, and it talks about how when you get that initial first high, in fact, even easier, I'm gonna right now just tell you a direct definition of Chasing the Dragon on Urban Dictionary. And the short one, there's a long one and a short one. Here's the short one. Chasing the dragon is doing everything you can to obtain the same high you got from the first time you tried a drug, but never quite getting there, due to the body developing a natural tolerance. Originally in reference to opium addiction, this term now refers to any drug. So that is the definition of Chasing the Dragon. And I think this is a trap that a lot of people fall into in video games, and especially the MMO genre, myself included. I've fallen into this trap, and it's definitely deprived me of a lot of games I could have enjoyed, MMOs I could have enjoyed and possibly, played for a while. But it ultimately is what most people who play WoW, for example, end up doing. And I think Classic WoW is a perfect example of that, but it's not the entire story. For a little bit of a background on my own experience with MMOs, I first started playing MUDs, multi-user dimensions, which were all text-based MMOs, way back in like 1996, 97, on dial-up internet that my uncle showed me. And I would do that, and I was really, really into it. I've always been a big fan of the high fantasy and all that. And then I got super, super excited when I saw that there was this game coming out called Middle-earth Online. Now, you may be thinking, oh, Raz, you mean Lord of the Rings Online? No, I don't mean Lord of the Rings Online. I mean Middle-earth Online, a game that ultimately never saw the light of day. It was being developed by Sierra Studios. It was the first graphical MMO that I had a real interest in. Before that, my uncle tried to get me into Ultima Online, and I just couldn't really get into it. It was a very complex game. It was a 2D game, very complex. But Middle-earth Online, I was very interested in because I've always been a huge Tolkien fan, a very huge fan of Lord of the Rings. And so I was very excited to get this game. And this game was going to do some shit that no other game had done, such as real travel time. So traveling from like the Shire to, Bree, for example, would take actual literal in-game and in real life days to travel with a lot of peril on the way. Death would be permanent. There'd be a loss system, so if your death was from a player, they would have a bounty on them and a huge reward for anyone who killed them. Big, big, big promises, again, that never saw the light of day. But I was really, really interested in it. However, after some time, and I realized it was getting canceled because it was owned and being developed by Sierra Studios, and if you're not familiar, Sierra Studios was bought out by Activision, and ultimately the project was shut down and went the way of the dodo, much as the entire fucking company of Sierra Studios did because of their merger with Activision. So Sierra Studios, if you don't know, if you're not an old asshole like me, created some very fantastic games in King's Quest series, the Space Quest series, very funny, very adult-esque games, but very enjoyable story point-and-click games. Anyway, so I was really disappointed about that. And then I went over to my friend's house, and this was in 1999, which was my sophomore year of high school. And he was playing a game called Asheron's Call. And I was like, when I was watching him play, and I was like, dude, what is this game? This game looks fucking awesome. It was a 3D MMO. And he said, it's like that Middle-earth game you were interested in, but it's not Lord of the Rings. It's, set in its own universe, its own story. And I was just entranced in this gameplay. And I had to get this game. I had to get it. I didn't give a shit that it was a paid subscription model. So I went out and I got the game, and I, through my own money at my job at the age of 15, almost 16, I was working at Arby's at the time. I paid out the money to get my own phone line installed in my bedroom, and I played this game. I played my ass off. And in fact, my friend and I, a guy who's actually right now still in my Final Fantasy free company, we still play games together. We became like some of the most powerful characters in the entire game. All the servers combined, we were very, very popular. We actually started making money selling really rare sets of armor on eBay, and we'd sell an account and then we'd make a new one and start over. But we were having so much fun. It was such a fun game. Anyway, after that, I tried all these new MMOs. The amount of MMOs, I can't even go into detail. I've played so many. I mean, right after that, I went to Dark Age of Camelot. Of course, World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings Online, Star Wars, The Old Republic, EverQuest 2, Vanguard, Saga of Heroes, Shadowbane. There are just so many, I can't even remember them all. I've played pretty much, if you name it an MMO, I've probably played it. Guild Wars 2, Lineage 2. But I was chasing the dragon. I was looking for that same feeling I got the first time I played Asheron's Call. And I never found it. Not even in Asheron's Call 2, which came out a couple years after Asheron's Call and turned out to be a flop overall. But I was obsessed with reclaiming that feeling of my first love, my first video game. And I think this same concept of chasing the dragon can apply to real life. Your first love with a girl or a dude, and you're always looking for that. But when you look for that one feeling that you can never actually achieve again in life, it's ultimately going to lead to disappointment, sadness, and it's just going to fuck up your whole life, to be honest. And I know video games aren't as big of a deal as some other things, but video games have always been my outlet. I've always been in love with them. They've always given me a way to express myself and to go into another world, apart from my profession and other things that I do. And so I was chasing the dragon for so long. There were other MMOs I really, really, really loved, but the only other MMOs that even came close to that initial feeling in Asheron's Call was Final Fantasy XIV, which I play now, Final Fantasy XI, and Dark Age of Camelot, and of course, the original World of Warcraft. I fell in love with World of Warcraft. It still wasn't the same as that initial feeling with Asheron's Call, But a lot of people's first MMOs was World of Warcraft, which is the whole point of this video. Sorry I went off on a tangent there, but I felt you needed some context. So, moving on here. When they announced that Classic WoW was going to be a thing, a lot of people got really excited. Not just because WoW has been complete and fucking shit and falling apart ever since the end of Wrath of the Lich King after Activision acquired them. Big fucking surprise. It's because people are chasing the dragon even more now with World of Warcraft. But if you immediately think that WoW Classic is going to give you that initial feeling, if you started playing in WoW Classic like I did, in fact I started in the build 0.6, I was in the vanilla WoW beta. If you think that's going to recapture those moments, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. Now, to be fair, Classic WoW is going to be better than any version of WoW that anybody has played for a long time. There's no doubt in my mind about that. None whatsoever. Classic WoW is going to bring a lot of players back to World of Warcraft, for sure. But there's something you have to understand. The mindset behind World of Warcraft Classics even existing in the first place. Remember, Activision Blizzard, this is a company that shut down Nostalrius. Classic WoW already existed on private servers, and they shut that shit down. We were told at a BlizzCon that it's something that we think we want, but we really don't. I mean, I feel bad for hardcore, get on your knees and suck cock for Blizzard, fans that are that hardcore, because really, if you look at it, the only things coming out from Activision Blizzard that people are actually excited for is a 15 going on 16-year-old game, World of Warcraft Classic, and a 20-year-old game, Warcraft 3 Remastered. That's ridiculous. That's fucking pathetic, and it's sad. And people allow themselves to be in this abusive relationship with this company. And I don't need to go back to those experiences. I don't need to go back because I know it's chasing the dragon. I know if I go back and play Classic WoW, sure, it'll be fun. Sure, it'll get all the nostalgia, tingles going through my body. And it'll bring back all these great memories of these great times. Some of the best gaming times I've had online in my entire life were in vanilla World of Warcraft, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King. Which, no doubt, Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King servers will eventually show up. You'll see. But you're allowing the smoke screen to blind your vision, in my opinion. The smoke screen that's covering up the fact that the whole reason Classic WoW is going to exist at all is to be a fully functioning life support system for a game that is so terrible and so, dark, and the company running it has very, very dark ulterior motives. They really want to ultimately just get as much money as they can from you with as little effort as possible on their part. They want to milk this cash cow for everything it's worth, much the same way Activision's done with every property they've ever obtained in the history of the company. They know WoW Classic will bring people back and boost their numbers. But here's ultimately what's going to happen. Here is the fate. I'm predicting the fate of WoW Classic, okay? There are only two kinds of players that will play World of Warcraft Classic, and each one of those kinds will split off into two branches. So let's go over that. The first kind of player that will give Classic WoW a try is the player that either is currently playing current WoW or quit current WoW quite a while ago and never played Classic, and so they want to give it a shot. This branch off of player is the most likely to stick with Classic because they never experienced Classic in the way it was. They never got that chance. But that player is either going to get into the game and fucking hate it, because if you started playing WoW in any time after Wrath, if that was your first time playing WoW, was any time after Wrath, the chances are very, very high that you're not going to like Classic, because you're probably an entitled baby, you're probably a unique special snowflake, and the difficulty level of Classic WoW and the self-accountability of the content in Classic WoW, the slower GCD, the unbalanced classes in Classic WoW are going to turn you off and you're going to quit. Because you're not getting free purples raining at you from the sky. The other group are people that will try it for the first time and they'll actually really like it. And they'll stick with it all the way up until they reach the point in the patches where they started playing WoW, and then it's going to get fucking old for them. Because at that point, once they hit that point, they'll realize there is nothing new. Now, the second group of player that will join are people that, again, it doesn't matter whether they're currently subbed to WoW or not, but the people that did play Classic WoW right from the beginning, did play vanilla, they're going to come back. And for a brief amount of time, it may be a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, it may even be a year, they're going to really, really enjoy it because it'll bring back, like I said, all the nostalgic tingles, you know, in their balls or their vages, you know, respectable. I know there's 800,000 genders now, so, you know, whatever your genitalia is, it's going to turn that on. And they're going to be really, really, really into it. Ultimately, though, they're going to hit that point where they know it's going to hit them like a brick wall. There's no new content coming for that version of the game. Everything they're ever going to experience in that version of the game is never going to be new. They haven't recaptured those old times. And all the boss fights and everything is going to be so much easier than they remember because their skill level has gone up dramatically since Vanilla WoW, since 2004. Most of the fights in a lot of the content is tank and spank. It's not going to provide near the challenge it did back then, because back then, even the best players of Classic WoW were shit compared to the best players of current WoW and current MMOs, because people have developed over time. Not to mention the fact that the community that was in the original Vanilla WoW isn't the community that's going to be in this version of WoW. There's going to be far more elitists and toxic shitheads that current WoW has created, and they're going to be playing that game. So be ready for that if you go into Classic WoW, because it's not going to be the same. Baron's chat will be more lit up than it was, I'm sure. Goldshire, you know, perversion, I'm sure will be at top tier levels. But ultimately, it's not going to be an identical experience. And I think it's going to burn people out quicker that did play during Vanilla. And they're going to burn out and leave the game again. Because we know there's never going to be another good expansion for current WoW ever again. It's literally fucking physically impossible for that to happen while Activision is at the helm. I mean, every single developer that had anything to do with what made the original WoW good has long since left Blizzard. Blizzard isn't Blizzard. Activision is Blizzard. They fucked Blizzard to death, skinned its corpse, and they're parading around pretending to be Blizzard, but that's not who they are. I mean, they've openly admitted that a computer decides what's fun based on algorithms, and the lead designer is a lawyer. I mean, and his co-host is a burned out shill, in my opinion, who used to make good content for WoW, and then he went out there and turned into a yes man. Obviously, he has to. His paycheck depends on it, but that's neither here nor there, and I digress. Those are the main reasons I won't touch Classic WoW. I've been there. I've done that. I'm not going to soil and spoil the old memories by playing a game that isn't going to be what it was. Ultimately, the community's not going to be what it was. I'm not going to re-meet and re-experience. It's not going to be new. It's chasing the dragon if you think it is going to be the same and it is going to bring back everything that was great about WoW. It just flat out won't do it. And not to mention, even if it could recapture it, even if I could catch the dragon by playing Classic WoW, there is no way I can justify giving any amount of money, a single solitary fucking dime, to a company like Activision Blizzard that treats their fans and their player base the way they have, that lies through their teeth, that makes poor quality content and properties and resells old products and shoves fucking store mounts and pay-to-win elements in everything they do and forces esports on people. I can't conceivably, in a good conscience, give any money to that company. The company needs to die. We need to let Blizzard die and hope that from the ashes, some of the old developers can make a new gaming company. That's the best we can hope for. It's not likely, probably never going to happen, but my money's much better spent right now on a company like Square Enix, who's making Final Fantasy XIV, which Shadowbringers, the expansion that's out right now, is arguably, I mean, it may get Game of the Year. We don't know. I mean, probably not, but it's up for Game of the Year. When's the last time WoW did anything like that? No, they don't. They're more interested in turning on that life support machine and putting as little money as possible into an old product and hyping it up as much in marketing and through, Twitch influencers and things like that to get people in, even if it's only temporary, to boost those shareholder numbers and make shareholders happy. So that's my answer. Fuck no, I'm not playing WoW Classic. I'm sure it'll be a much better game than any version of WoW we've seen in a long time, but I'm just not interested. I've been there, done that. It's in the past. I'm more interested in the present and moving forward as best I can. And my advice to you is don't chase the dragon. If you never played Classic WoW, ever, try it out if you really, really want to. If you have, you're wasting your time. That's just my opinion. But anyway, guys, this has been Raziel. Thank you so much for listening to this Raz Rants. As always, follow me on Twitch, as you can see here on the screen. If you're interested in more discussions like this one, if you're not interested, then fine. I don't give a fuck. But thank you guys so much for the massive amounts of support I've been receiving over the last while. And as always, my friends, keep it real.